Hello, I'm Don Wellman. I'm going to read from my book Essay Poems, a long poem, in fact, an essay poem called The Generosity of the Dead. It clearly involves reading quotation from several authors, the most prominent of which is Lisa Robertson. Ed Foster has a large role. I will not use air quotes. I will give citations, and hopefully you can catch from the rhythm or intonations of my voice when I am using quotation or pastiche. The Generosity of the Dead, Part 1. The purpose, dissemble, disassemble. One is prose, the other poetry. All commentary is sadistic. Will prayer attain the intimacy of a conversation with God, like those once imagined by John of the Cross in the trans-historical Baroque? So much depends on disciplines. So lovely sucking theory from doubts. Debbie and Epic, line 489. Now I occupy design, the last words of Lisa Robertson's Rousseau's Boat incite my interrogation of the Baroque. The generosity of the dead is our problem, she writes. When poets rhymed, our meditations followed the discipline of Ignatius Loyola. I opine. Eliot's Ash Wednesday is neo-Baroque beggary, I cried. Spiritual quest in a rationalized world. She confesses, dominant, I want to wear memory like a molded hunger. Lisa Robertson's Magenta Soul Whip, page 11. Her readings defy narrative clarity. Poetry disdains the talking cure. The poet constructs the many-layered fable, etude, or exercise. In the visual arts, Matisse's decorative figures are exquisite ornamental exercises. In Caravaggio's paintings, the Baroque eschewed black. Velázquez sought to mirror virtuality. The painter inhabits design, displays severed heads. Old John Gore addressed the heads on the walls of Antioch. Shakespeare's Baroque theater calls forth the Duke of Dark Corners like a spider, measure for measure. A problem play that is an unfolding of multiple plots, contests the Counter-Reformation and its particular Baroque, police work for the soul, seething Angelo. Part 2. Woven ropes of chastisement mock penalty of law. Robertson is polymorphous, into many sexes slowly pivoting like leaves. She is language, glossy black notebook with red ink-edged pages, water-dampened, Rousseau's Boat, 23. She is her notebooks, there are 4. Ancient trope of page and leafage, modesty of decorative elegance. Canal boat reveries, the dreaming bark. She pivots as she reads in her exploration of personhood. Ours Boat 23. What does Debbie learn from R? Not that the poet's identity perishes with his body. Instead, his mind merges with that of God, with whom it was always united, without memory, from time immemorial. Rousseau's state of nature is a fable for a Spinozist, Spinoza's immortality seeks not to preserve individuality. The mirage of soul skims the trees. Debbie and Epic, line 50. Duration isn't nostalgic. 3 Summers, page 58. Part 3. Indexical and melancholic, the tristesse of masturbation. You want to enter into the humility of limitations coupled with exquisite excess, the present. Rousseau's Boat, 27. Goutfoot, I'm reading several poets in the same meanwhiles. So I attended vegetation where ornamentation is unfinished, and it was a purely melancholic ritual. A cuff. R's Boat, page 39. The flamboyant's long scabbards rattle. Ay, cadaveres, I cry. Indeed, so runs the dream that riffles the hairs on my neck. My legs tire. I prepare a ragout of exquisite beef. So louche, legs splayed. A pink city doesn't rise from the forest. R's Boat, 65. In Freud's reading, Dora understood the geography of sex and gorged nymphi framing a lake. Otherwise, there were dense forests and a path along the shore, nettles. The tenderness of my monologue may offend, the heady scent of ripened fruit. Elsewhere, she writes, your name is a syllable on my face, and I speak it from your own juice. Hydromel or mead. Lisa Robertson's The Men, page 31. Another period of snow and drizzle, spring delayed, and soon the runners, male and female, will surge over the hills, looking for sun, spurred by the panic of gunfire. My sidereal gender wanders among the stars as the Earth's orthogonal axis precesses during a year of 25,800 days. Soon fish will leave the sea, and Aquarius will restore balance to the night. That's disco, Daddy. When I was a kid, I glued stars to my ceiling. Wolves prowl. No true astronomy secures doubt. Part 4. Ed Foster's Sowing the Wind makes a lucid statement on material or physical gnosis. Observation and perception teach a higher order of knowing, but no transcendental order is proposed, no dogma, only the certainty of what Husserl once called an intuition, a truth beyond self-evident solipsism. Lisa is more accident-prone than other poets, no more so than am I. We both like inversions, meaning slices and comforts. Her method pursues prosody. I wanted the phonemes to spread around me like a sea. Rousseau's Boat, 17. Elusive logics emerge like spawning salmon or girls on a lawn. The howling disturbs my sleep. Bear claws sculpted into the muck of a forest trail. Ed would not turn down that path as I have done. He'd hone his questions, showing us that grammar yields the answer. It's an ironic and serene Gnosticism. Strong young men, not Nazis, to join him in that mountain hut, page 13. These are love poems. If you just turn, one final thrust of that ecstatic storm would make us what we are. Page 39. In sight and sound lies true Gnosticism, not denial. I am the words you seek and say. Part 4. Dwelling makes authentic existence possible. A slow philosophy endeared Martin Heidegger to boys who visited him on Todtenauberg. Hütte, a hut or refuge in a technological age. Paul Celan crossed the killing fields Val de Wassen to meet the philosopher, whose star die sat on the rim of the well. Jeremy Prynne theorizes as universal to poetry, a writing framework that intersects with the existing world order and flirts with narcissism, activating a system of discontinuities and breaks, which interrupt and contest the intrinsic cohesion and boundary profiles of its domain, so that there is constant leakage inwards and outwards across its connections with the larger world order. The canoe is a dwelling within a watery world, a framework for philosophers. On which side of the night does love leave its whispering moccasin prints? Prynne proposed to refluidize for soluble modularity. My family kept cattle. My grandfather was a butcher. In my own youth, I stumbled on roots near a cairn in Uhlans upland. A hint of eyebrow bright sprouting from the moss, where I would lie me down today and contemplate mares' tails skying blades of tufted grass. Poets dwell in graveyards. Chuffs squawk. Part 5. My fall into a lyric mode consorts with abjection. Bodies and landmines lie in the fields, cadaverous, Mosul, Orlando, and clog the putrid waters of the anal canal. Hurricanes flare up, impatiently flinging our furniture and debris onto our physical identities. Our roles in society are attacked by what we own. Carla Harriman, Adorno's Noise, page 14. The poet is a flaneur. The essayist is wary of conclusions. To my nose, the scent of flowers does not nauseate so much as does the stench of sardony. It hovers in rain clouds over water lilies. I cannot make more of such perfume than to associate the grappling of the roots with shit and blood. Lucio Fontana revealed the substance of color when he slit the canvas. Poets and artists tear open the firmament itself to let a bit of free and windy chaos in and frame with sudden light the vision that appears through the rent. Wordsworth's Spring or Cézanne's Apple, the silhouette of Macbeth or Ahab. Why do I feel nauseated? Who is a Nazi? Who is not? What is philosophy? Page 205. Banana leaves, carpet, banana tents. The strictures of reciprocal love brought me to a fusion of Simone de Beauvoir and Robert Duncan, who wrote of a prosody where, Each syllable of the poem, if we keep alive each sound in the sounding of the whole, is such a stricture, just the sound of it, that proves in the movement of the poem to be a liberation. Where nurses a perfidy chant as they descend to earth, feed from my tongue, touch my wet hip, give me words, give me words. Debbie, an epic, page 60. Do you see the canoe in the stars, Donnie? The bubbles in the muck. This is a love poem. Lisa Robertson writes, We Who Have No Memories at All, 3 Summers, page 16. Sex loses its generic markers and finds convoluted form. The tree that is a phallus is also the vegetative root of human reproduction. Fish, serpents, and manatees populate the mind, stirred by voluptuosity. The dripping house went dark, and the forest began, availing itself of the lunations of the little goat and the needle, the slow interweaving dance of reproductions that need the dew. Now the manatee had reached the grass, and moving its thick pectoral fins, crept toward the stone seat, crawling with slippery ease that its oiled skin gave it. Les Amalima, Paradiso, 49. Allegorical manatees bathe on the shores of my lingering. Part 6. What then is the American Baroque? For this is my nominal subject, surreal among the mangroves where lizards and apes, typewriters and crocodiles lay their larvae, and salt water is purified. Taino or Penobscot direct the prehensile mind through tarred and knotted ropes of melancholy. Do they? Extermination and deluded hope are married to wilderness. As in other romantic tales, the downy bodies of newborn babes haunt the shelves in storage rooms. Ay, cadaveres. Nestor Palanger's lament for Argentina in the time of the generals and the dirty wars. In the nets of fishermen, in the tumbling of crayfish, in the bit of hair that is nipped, and a small unfastened hair clip, ay, cadaveres. Ethos impinges on style. Now I'm thinking that all along it's been my body that I don't understand. Lisa Robertson, 3 Summers, page 62.